when I was in here by myself.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Good, good. I was out for the weekend. Is this where
They're not going to vote on board.
so we get some deja vu. Is this where it's
Basically the same president. Employee message.
yes. I read through the whole thing. What else?
Part that we're on.
That's still old news, so figure out presentation again. Did you see the news story?
I did, yeah.
Do you want to
I appreciate you painting us in a good light.
Come on, guys. How you doing? See you.
You guys got matching shoes. Yeah, I thought we were both wearing suits.
I texted him. I said, "What do you want us to wear?" He goes, "Your t-shirt's fine." I'm like, "Okay."
We had a whole plan. Apparently there was a part that I missed.
You're supposed to be the suit.
He was present for it. We changed from suits to polo.
I asked him for a polo. He goes, "Man, your t-shirt's great." I was like,
Standing there. He even said that. Where your polo is? Okay. Them standing right there.
Connor texted me and he's like, "What are we wearing?" I said, "Stu told me your t-shirt. I'll wear a t-shirt." Good.
Here.
Councilmember Clayton Rice.
Here.
Councilmember Jacqueline Rominger.
Here.
Councilmember Chris Kinney.
Here.
Thank you. Now we'll have the invocation by Pastor Jeff Vaughn from Grace Baptist Church.
Father, I thank you for this night. I thank you for Mayor Athene, Lord, for these city council members. I just ask for two things for these folks tonight. You said without you we can do nothing. So Lord, give them wisdom to make the decisions that are needful for this community. Just help them tonight. Secondly, Father, you tell us who are in leadership positions to do it as servants to our people. So I ask that they would have that servant's heart. Just guiding this meeting tonight. We'll thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Vaughn. If you'd remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by members of the Bridgeport Police Department here in attendance tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 5, approval of the minutes of the August 25th, 2025 regular council meeting. Is there any action on that?
So moved as read.
Second.
Motion and a second for the approval of the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Public comments. First we have Mike Queen. If you'd step up to the podium, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman, Council Lady. I'm here today as a citizen to talk about the Simpson Creek Covered Bridge, one of 17 wooden bridges left in West Virginia. The iconic symbol in the center of our seal, and unless you knew where it was, you couldn't find it today. It's covered up. The growth around it has taken over it. It's leaking. The vines have crawled up inside it. And while it's since 1881, it's been part of our city. Like I said, one of 17 covered bridges left. I don't even think it's in the city of Bridgeport. So I know that the state has programs that may help restore that iconic symbol for our city. Nothing says to me, Bridgeport, more than that covered bridge. And I went up before I came here. I thought, well, should I come tonight and even say anything, because I've brought this up before. Yeah, I should say something. I couldn't even see it. I couldn't even see it when I got off the interstate coming from Fairmont to come here, come to the end of the exit ramp and look to the right. You have to look for it to know that it's back. And it's just the growth is a big old beautiful sycamore tree covering it up. And then when the leaves fall and it's and you can see through when wintertime comes, you'll see that it's discolored. Used to be the kids would go there for homecoming, take pictures, and there's plenty of room there maybe for a little park sometime. You can't even park next to it. So I'm here to offer my services. I know a state senator might be able to help us with a little bit of funding. I was engaged and active with the Warner family on the restoration of the Carrollton Bridge, so I know that sometimes those can be expensive. So I'm here tonight to offer to be part of a committee or part of an effort to restore this iconic, beautiful bridge that is the symbol of the city. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for giving me the chance to be here. Again, I stand eager to help the city with a project to restore that.
Mike, thank you, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
bringing that to our attention. We'll reach back out to you. Thank you. All right, next, City Clerk Lauren Rogers on behalf of Scott Gaynor.
Okay, our office received this letter from Mr. Gaynor last week requesting to have it read into the record as he was unable to attend tonight's meeting. So he just wants to address two brief but important thoughts and facts on two different items. So the first is regarding city charter. He is urging you all to retain the 3-year professional experience requirement for any city manager hires. He's worked with risk abatement and process improvement repeatedly in his career over nearly 20 years and clearly recognizes this provision as a key process control that reduces the risk of fraud, waste, or abuse by mitigating the threats associated with unqualified or conflicted candidates being installed. Furthermore, to directly address the obstacle we've encountered with finding qualified candidates more rapidly, the real issue has not been the requirement itself, but it is the result of the repeated turnover and instability with that role in the recent years. We must remember that we aren't just hiring somebody for a job. We are convincing them that this is a viable place for them to move with their families and be empowered to do their job properly. And the turmoil resulting from our prior council's handling of that position makes for a very tough sell. Overcoming such past missteps requires stronger incentives and assurances, such as enhanced severance packages and higher pay. Once more, the cost of past mismanagement comes in dollars, but once again, we are fortunate in that we can afford to properly correct course. The answer is not weakening existing safeguards that reduce the chance of fraud, waste, abuse, or other corruption actually occurring. This is especially important, once again, as we are all hopefully aiming to restore public trust and confidence. The second item, finally, as an additional footnote regarding our city charter, when it is opened, I strongly urge that we add a charter provision prohibiting any contract clause allowing a city manager to be fired for any reason or no reason. If performance is poor, that should be the reason, period. Such a clause only invites undue influence, even up to extortion level pressure being leveraged upon a city manager, and must not be allowed. I thank you for your service, time, and careful consideration of the information that I have shared. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers, and thank you, Mr. Scott Gaynor. Okay, those are the only two that I have listed. Is there anybody else here that would want to address the council before we move on? All right, item number 7 is mayor's report. A few things. I had the opportunity today to speak to our attorney with Flannery and George Ellis, and just to get an update on the two investigations that we've labeled as A and B. They're in the process of finishing up the Part A. Mr. Eulenfeld did commend the city and its staff for fully cooperating, and he feels that he should have that wrapped up by the beginning of next month for us, and that they are strategizing on how to continue with B. So I thought that was very good news to hear from him. To date, we've paid them $78,238.30, and we have $40,000 unencumbered in that item. Secondly, Tim Miller from Babs Callan will be here on October 13th to update us on his involvement in the what I call the TIF issue legal matters, and he is happy to come here, and he'll be giving us an update to where they are. To date, on all three legal firms with the TIF issues, we're up to $167,161.60 with no cap on those legal fees. Third, I had some discussions last week with some people from Genesis Partners at Charles Point, and I briefly spoke to the city manager today about it, but I apologize, Dean, I hadn't had a chance. I got this late this afternoon. We're not going to discuss this today, but I will be discussing with legal and the city manager, and I'll forward for information only to the council the information I received. They are in hopes, and as well as I am, that we can come to some resolution on these existing matters, and we'll get that to you, and then we can have discussion if the council or legal wishes to go further on that. Fourth and final is, as requested by Councilman Kinney, And I agree, we are going to add to the agenda for the next meeting, and I tell you this now so everybody can start thinking about it a little bit, is a process and thoughts on a charter review. And, we're very beginning stages, and the councilman had some really good thoughts and ideas, and so I would, ask that you start thinking about that, and we can have some open discussion next meeting. And that's all I have for Mayor's report. Okay, now that I've found my agenda, report of the interim city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I will mention I got to spend the afternoon with the mayor. We went around to several departments, got to meet several people, see a lot of the facilities that he hasn't got to meet in our busy schedules here lately. So he's got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of the other city facilities today.
Thank you
that
for
are
that.
not in City Hall. Yeah, I think everybody enjoyed that. And I think what we talked about afterwards was it's always nice to see when we get to meet those department heads like that, how proud they are of what they do. So yeah, I think it shows greatly with all of our department heads and our departments as well, that they're very proud of the jobs that they do for the city. All right, I have my report for today. The Bridgeport Library, they have a lot going on as normal. They're holding a library card design contest, and there will be 3 age categories for that, and the details will be on their website. They're doing some pop-up libraries at the park, Bridgeport City Park on September 10th and 14th, and Compton Park on September 17th. You can sign up for a library card, browse a selection of library materials. You can get a 10% discount at Great Harvest Bread and Cafe on Jerry Dove Drive by showing your library card during the month of September. They also have a fun night out at Stone Tower Brews, and they're partnering with the Clarksburg-Harrison County Library, and you can get some more information on their website from that too. The Bridge Sports Complex, again, in their attempts to host non-sports related things and diversify the activities and events that they host there. This weekend they had 90 tables of sports and Pokemon card show. So that was something different. Right now they have 85 registrants for the Winter the Storm Triathlon that they're going to hold on the site at September 20th. Our fall adult league teams, which I think is fantastic. They have 18 teams registered across a couple different leagues. They also, if you're up on site there, their staff redid some signage inside that was Whopper jawed. And it looks really good. So I included a picture in your packet there, and I included the term Whopper jawed because I learned that today from our city clerk, Lauren Rogers, and I thought Dean would enjoy that comment. So I had to work that into my report somewhere. I'd never heard that term before, and I had to thank Lauren's grandpa for that. So Whopper jawed, word of the day. Community development, reminder that Shred Day will be here on October 4th from 9 to 12. They have issued 676 permits this year for a total of $73 million in construction. Ms. Kerr told me that she thought they would break a record this year because of some of the upcoming projects for the amount of construction in the city. She asked me to provide a garbage can update. That's been a hot topic here recently. Recently after the trash collection, they went around to 37 neighborhoods and they found 6 garbage cans on the sidewalk, 3 of which were in a shared alley. But the code enforcements have been reaching out and knocking on some doors. We have, I think they're making a lot of progress through, word of mouth and talking to some people to make sure we keep those sidewalks clear for our walkers and joggers and school students. Bella Vista received 5 more building permits for their next series of buildings. That's up in the Charles Point area. That will be 20 more units. They have already started 15 buildings. Their total construction cost to date is $6.1 million. Commercial Land and Development at Thompson Drive pulled a building permit for $181,000 for a first floor interior build out of an existing building that will house a doctor's office. UHC is doing a remodel of a portion of the interior of the Mountaineer Medical Building for $407,000. Emergency management has been assisting our wastewater department with purchasing some stop the bleed equipment that the staff can carry. September is National Preparedness Month. Billboards are up and running, and the whole month they encourage citizens to sign up for emergency alerts and have a disaster plan. Save a Life Day is September 25th, and we are partnering with Healthy Minds and the Quick Response Team to have a table at the Meadowbrook Mall Center Court from 2 to 6 on the 25th. Our fire department, they've been averaging about 12 calls per day. They had some issues the other day when UHC went on a yellow diversion on September 3rd and 4th for about 2 hours, which from what I understand from Chief Hart, that they have to take their patients to other hospitals because they're full. They had a working structure fire on Overlook Drive. The fire was contained to a laundry room, but there was smoke damage. The occupants were sleeping at the time, but they were alerted and exited due to working smoke detectors. So that's your reminder to check your smoke detectors. We also had smoke in the building of the Bridgeport Middle School because of a faulty HVAC unit on the roof. I think that was on Thursday or Friday last week. Our IT department, they did some repair work for one of the interview rooms for the camera in one of the interview rooms of the police department. We use a program called Arctic Wolf, which is to protect us from phishing scams, and an email test went out, and we had a 94% score. So we're still working on that. We got to get that at 100. Parks and Recreation, we hosted with the Bridge an annual Team Challenge pickleball tournament out at our new pickleball courts this last weekend. We hosted 35 athletes there, and everyone enjoyed the weather and the new courts. We have several fall classes offering down at the Civic Center, cookie making classes, line dancing, karate, arts and craft classes. We have a bunch of things going on this fall. The Fall Story Walk event is scheduled for October 13th from 4:30 to 6. You can read and walk, collect treats at City Park. It's open to all ages. Pool stats for the summer. We had over 5,500 member swipes and 11,000 non-member admissions. And we had one member who attended over 65 days this summer. So getting their use out of that pool pass. Police Department, the training facility progress, it's well underway. It's almost under roof now. The mayor and I got to drive up there and see it this afternoon. So it's going along well. Tiny's crew at Public Works will be down there to put the concrete floors in here in the next couple of days. We still have a crossing guard position at Johnson Elementary that we're trying to fill. If anyone's interested in that, please let us know. Police recruitment update, background checks and polygraph examinations are currently being conducted for our new officer candidates, and they are working diligently to fill the one open officer position by December. E-bike safety reminder, this is one that's popped up a lot here lately in other communities and here. Chief Rogers reminds us that riders are reminded they need to operate responsibly, especially on sidewalks and trails, and be courteous and careful when you're passing pedestrians. I believe they have to wear a helmet too, should have a helmet. I think the same bike rules apply. And the mayor and I also witnessed the advanced firearms training that's going on down at the range today, and that'll be over the next 3 days, and they're hosting that class with officers from multiple departments across the state in attendance. Public Works, they finished up the curbing at the inclusive playground around where the restroom's going to be placed. They're pouring the floor at the police building here in the next couple of days. And they finished up all the camera work on the James Street sewer project, so we'll be moving quickly with that. We discussed that at our Bridgeport Utility Board, so they're aware of that, the issues down there, and they're going to work with us to get that remedied. And they're almost done with the Ridgeway concrete street replacement project. So down at our wastewater treatment plant, they had a rep on site for their to install their new CSO telemetry today, and it gives real-time CSO data and provides multiple point location range gauge data throughout the city, which will help us in stormwater management and things. Let's see, they're working with our engineer and with Tiny on some new utilities, going up to serve the Mazda dealership. I'd also like to report that next meeting, we will have a representative here doing a report from Terracon. They're the ones that have been working on the Deegan Lake project, and they're going to explain what they found and some of the possible solutions. We have one that's relatively inexpensive in the big scheme of things, and one that's very expensive. So, but let's hope the first one works. But that's all I have today.
Very good, thank you. Okay, item 9, awards presentations. We will start with Jason Kelly. You want to meet me up front? See you twice in one day, huh? It's a good thing. Jason, this is you to hold for right now. All right, I'm gonna try to talk real loud because I've heard that the people on the live stream can't hear us very well. So, Employee Service Award presented to Jason Kelly on this 8th day of September 2025 in recognition of your 15 years of service. Signed by myself and Interim City Manager Joe Shuttlesworth. Jason, thank you for your service and congratulations.
Thank you.
You do speak real loud.
Now, when you're done, I'll talk to both of them.
Okay,
I'd like
for
to get a
both of
picture
them.
with both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I get one?
You want to?
Three of you together real quick?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Take these glasses off so I can see. That makes sense, does it? But it's true. All right. Aaron Cottrell? Eric? Ernie, let me put my glasses back on so I can see. Youngins, these are cheaters, and when you get older, you'll need them. Yes. Okay, Ernie, I'm sorry about that. Here you go. All right. Employee Service Award presented to Ernie Cottrell on this 8th day of September 2025 in recognition of your 15-year service. And it's signed by myself and Joe Shuttlesworth, Interim City Manager. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
So to council and everybody, I'd like to point out that these two right here is the cause of all the chaos on Ridgeway. They're pouring the concrete streets and they're doing an excellent job up there. Couldn't ask for two better employees. They've excelled at everything they do. I mean, Jason's an operator, Ernie's a foreman, so I can't say enough about them.
Yeah, we see them all over town.
Yep, they're dependable,
All
so.
over the place. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Here, stay up here, take note. Thank you, guys. Chief Rogers. You're gonna get a lot of meeting time tonight. Been that long? Employee Service Award presented to Mark Rogers on this 8th day of September 2025 in recognition of your 20 years of service. Signed by me and Joe Shuttlesworth, Interim City Manager. Congratulations, Chief. Yes, sir. Chief, you should just stay on your feet. Report on the need and use of an armored rescue vehicle. Chief Mark Rogers, Sergeant Brett Stewart, and Director of Emergency Services Tim Curry.
move out here a little bit so we can see. All right, hey, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule this evening to listen to some information. We have a unique opportunity to get 50% of a armored vehicle paid for by the means of a grant. One of the things that we've talked about for quite a while is trying to obtain a piece of armor, not because we want to be out there running it around and enforcing laws. It's meant for the rescue of people who can't rescue themselves. It's meant to keep officers as well as firemen and EMS safe whenever we go into the worst of situations. It's something that is ever present on my mind to make sure that with the young people that we have in our schools, that we do the best that we possibly can. When we purchase a piece of equipment, we do it with the thought that we will utilize it at some point. We want to have it to where we never have to use it, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. We have a great relationship with the Harrison County Sheriff's Office, who has one of these vehicles as well as the Marion County Sheriff's Office, and we've utilized both of them at times in different situations throughout the last decade. One of the things that we see a need for is if we have a large response at a hospital, at a school, or any one of the vast numbers of facilities that house a lot of people, it will take more than just one vehicle. It'll take a combination of all these vehicles to do it in a coordinated and safe manner. I can't think of a time that I would ever want to send an officer in where I knew that that person was likely to lose their life, nor would I want to bring a person out of a place where they are likely to lose their life just because we're trying to move them and we don't have the proper equipment. These are the things that I think about every day, and I know that Sergeant Stewart and Director Curry have thought about for the last 5 years whenever we've attempted to get this same grant over and over again. This is something that, it pays for 50% of this vehicle, and what I would ask in the future is that this council pony up a match to that. We think we can get it for less than an additional $200,000, but I won't know that till we're able to sit down with the designers and then place that order. One of the things that I think that I would anticipate this evening is where would we get that money from? So working with finance is one of the things we've talked to Director Hinkle about quite often, is making sure that we use these tax dollars in the best possible way. And I know for a lot of people that don't understand what police officers do or what some of the TIMS officers do with the fire department, it's difficult to put it into words that makes it easier to palate. This is something that I'm going to attempt to do this evening, and hopefully if you have questions, I would love to answer them. Also, if you come up with something after this meeting's over with, please get hold of me offline. That would be great as well.
So it's important to note that our grant was one of only 2 grants awarded in last year's cycle that were over $100,000. So we're very fortunate in that manner. And this is something we've worked on for many years to try and secure this grant for this vehicle. We put this grant in every year since I've been here, so that's the last 5 years at least.
So our current delivery system is a purpose-built, essentially a box truck that has the means to have a command post in the back of it, a small grease board, some lockers to stow some things, and a radio system. Has 0 armor in it. It's also still something we have to park off scene in order, and then offload the officers and get them to the scene of the incident. As you can see there, it lacks the ballistic protection as well as the ground clearance. We had an incident where we were called out to assist a agency in a multi-jurisdictional search warrant for murder suspects. The vehicle could not make it to the scene, and the officers had to offload and hike quite a distance, not knowing that the people that they were after were just ahead of them in a vehicle just mere quarter-mile away. So it's one of the things that we rely on, is to get personnel there swiftly, and if we can't do that in a swift manner, it also alters the fact of how we have to respond when we get there.
It's also important to note that I was able to find multiple use cases for the Bearcat beyond the tactical response. There's several documented use cases of the Bearcat being used in disasters like floods, blizzards, mudslides, several use cases of it being used to evacuate civilians from disaster areas. So it is not just a police department use, it is a multi-use vehicle that's going to last longer than any of us are going to be here still. And Bearcats are used in all 50 states in a variety of uses, and there are currently 7 other agencies in West Virginia that utilize this piece of equipment.
So it's got full ballistic protection, and what that means is it will, all the windows, all of the outside of it are resistant to different types of rounds. There are certain extremely large rounds that multiple hits will defeat it. But typically what we would see and have come across during at least my career, it would hold up against. It'll hold 12 kitted up men. And when I say kitted up, that's their larger ballistic vests, helmets, all of the gear that they need to operate in different incidents. Also, if it was used for evacuation purpose, we could stock 18 to 20 civilians in there. I would guess that we could probably do more if necessary in worst case scenarios. But it's also something that I think that given the importance of this situation at the moment, we would put as many people as absolutely possible in it to get them out safely. We have support from many of our partners. I think that you were provided letters from UHC staff as well as the Board of Education. I was contacted this evening by the FBI local field office, and they are going to prepare a letter of support as well. It's something that for people in areas that could potentially see a great need for it, that they want to make sure that we have the proper equipment to assist them and the people that they serve, as well as in any way possible. We've used it locally. Most recently over this earlier in the summer, we had an incident where due to the good coordination with the sheriff's office, they were able to get it over to us fairly timely. It was an individual who had threatened family members. And rather than put officers in there into a situation where they'd be forced to confront somebody who's armed, we're able to use tactics as well as technology to keep officers safe and ultimately keep the individual who was arrested safe from having to be dealt with in a different manner, more forceful manner. Prevention through training and equipment. Our SRT officers, I'll let Sergeant Stewart talk about that. He runs our SRT team now.
Yeah, so we're comprised of 12 members of the police department. We have 3 medics, and we are very fortunate enough that we have a doctor that is attached to our SRT team. We train once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on scheduling issues or things like that. But this is a tool that would be very vital to us, and having it readily available to us is very key. Instead of having to wait to contact an agency and then them call an officer to be able to bring this piece of equipment to us, but to be able to have it readily available to us and to protect all of our officers. And it's using multiple things, as Mr. Curry said here, in natural disasters. I know recently our fire department assisted with some floods and stuff like that over in the Eastern Panhandle, and Cumberland Police Department has one of these, and I saw photographs where they utilize their Bearcat to be able to extract citizens and stuff like that from flooded areas. So it's a very multi-purpose vehicle that would not just serve the police department alone. But for us, it's very, very key and very vital in being prepared for in that event that, given something tragic would happen, that we would be prepared to be able to deal with it and protect the citizens of the community as well as officers that we have here.
And we think it would be a wise use of our finances. I mean, this issue had come up before where they were able to potentially get one for free, but some of the issues of where we would store it and maintenance had come up, and that was a concern before. But this is built on a Ford chassis, so our mechanics are able to take care of it. We have space to store it, so I think this project mitigates a lot of those fears that previous members of council had about such a thing.
we'd be willing to take any questions you may have. Or
The octagon-shaped item, does that force doors open?
it can, yes, ma'am.
I saw that photo. That's amazing.
What is the expected maintenance cost, annual maintenance cost associated with it?
3-year bumper to bumper initially. It is a Ford 550 chassis, so all of the drivetrain and everything is Ford, so it's can be maintenanced by a Ford dealer locally. I've talked to our maintenance garage. They're willing to do all the oil and stuff like that. So we don't believe it has a very high cost like you would find with that piece of equipment that Director Curry spoke about, the MRAP. With all the hydraulics that come on that system, would be significant if something was to go down. This is not like that. Hinges are a typical hardened hinge versus hydraulics and things.
Do you have data on what the operational rate is for these over the course of a lifetime? I mean, because going back, I'm familiar with the MRAP, the downtime on that thing is fairly significant within the military, even though we work on it ourselves. So I just wonder, is this in the 98, 99% operational realm?
I would say it is. That speaking to the salesman who we've been in contact with, it is a high operational rate. I couldn't tell you. I've never asked for downtime. So
The one you had in the picture there that you used for response here, was it a smaller version? Because it didn't look as...
No, I think it's a G3 if I remember correctly. So they've had another version to this since then.
I mean, that would fit like 12 kitted up people in that thing?
That
looks
one,
awfully small.
we've had an entire team during an armed standoff with an individual that resolved itself, using tactics and equipment. This is something that I want to say we've had one. I think there was 12 officers in there. I was one of them at the time, and I can tell you it's not the most comfortable place to be for about 4 hours, but we were there nonetheless.
Jason? I will say just briefly, I guess this is more of a comment, but I was at an event last week where FBI Director Patel spoke, and he commented this year, and I'm really happy to hear that we're on a trend with less officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty. And he went on to say this is exactly why, because the trend now is supplying law enforcement with the tools that they need to enforce the laws. And I think, Chief, I appreciate you and Tim and Brett for bringing this to our attention, because this is certainly one of those tools that can benefit. If you save one life, it's well worth it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And if you have more questions you think of later, please reach out to one of us. Okay.
Thank you. Unfinished business, there is none. New business. 12.1, consider and act on the appointment of an audit committee as required by West Virginia State Auditor's Office. Sharon, do you want to brief the council on that, please?
Sure. Every year we receive an audit that is oversaw. Can't even get the right words out here. The state auditor's office oversees that audit. They have a few auditors that work at the state, but most of the entities get bid out to outside CPA firms that are approved by the auditor's office. So every 2 years, we put our audit out for bids. So this request is to put a committee together. We will send out to the auditors that are on the state's list that are approved to do the audit. It'll be for the year ending June 30th, 2025, which we just ended, and then for next year, June 30th, 2026. So the audit committee, primarily, we review the bids. It's very formalized what the state asks you to do. You award a point system based on their qualifications, whether or not they meet certain things, and then obviously their price. So the audit committee will review that, and then if there's any kind of corrective action after the audit, the committee will also help review those things with the council.
All right, any questions from the council? Any action?
I'll make a motion to approve item 12.1.
Motion on the floor to approve 12.1.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carried. All All right, you just remained at the podium. You knew you were next. Consideration and act on general fund budget revision number 5 for fiscal year 25-26.
Okay, this is a very simple budget revision. We received money from Waste Management. They hit one of our cruisers, and we've received their insurance check to replace that cruiser. And then the fire department received some federal grant funds for training in the amount of $9,260. I'm adding to both of their budgets so that they can do their training and replace their vehicle.
All right, any questions? Any action?
Motion to approve item 12.2 is read.
Motion for 12.2, is there a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? Okay, it's a roll call vote.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Mayor Robert Matheny,
Yes.
Recorder Hank Murray,
Yes.
Councilmember Don Burton, Councilmember Jason Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Chris Kinney,
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton Rice,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacqueline Armitage.
Yes.
All right. 12.3, consider an act on change order number 1 with Ohio West Virginia Excavating for $152,355 with a 10% contingency of $15,235.50 for a total amount of $167,590.50 for the repair of the additional slip on Thompson Drive. Is there any intermanagers? Anybody
Yes.
speak on that?
So as you guys know, back earlier in the summer, we had a significant rainfall that caused a large slip. A disaster was declared. Director Curry got us FEMA approval to do that repair. Then in early June, we had another separate storm that caused another section of slippage. There was pictures in your packet that showed some of that damage. And it has caused some cracking in the road above that, more on the, I believe that'd be the western side of the slip, back up behind Goodwill up in that area. And we brought some stuff to you guys earlier, and I think we kind of tabled that. I did work with our consultant, Thrasher Engineering, and with city staff, and and asked them, what do you think we need to do now? And so working with them, due to the damage that we're experiencing above that area to the road, which if that road goes, of course we have some damage there, but there's water lines and sewer lines involved there as well. And that was the big concern with the first part as well. So you guys saw the stuff in your packet. They recommend that there's another 32 feet west of that capture area that we repair as well. Yeah, we would kind of be in the same boat as before, where they have to order steel and everything like that. We had an option earlier, we thought, to reduce the mobilization cost, but that's not going to happen. So this is our recommendation. It also in your memo was the where Director Hinkle thinks we should take that money from, which is where we've been using that money from that'll be reimbursed, and that's from the future capital projects allocation within the capital reserve fund, which is there's a significant amount of money there that we can use for that project, and that's our recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions, Joe? Any action on that item?
Motion to approve item 12.3 is read.
Motion to approve 12.3 is read. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. 12.4, consider an act on change order number 1 with Terracon Consultants Incorporated for $7,000 to complete the 2025 dam safety inspection report. Joe, do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So Terracon is the company that will be here next council meeting to give a report on their progress of the inspections of the dam. But with the West Virginia DEP, we have to do a comprehensive study report on the condition and of the dams every 2 years. And that's normally been done in-house with our engineering department. And currently we have no engineer. I've worked through a couple things, and this seems to be our best option to get that completed. We have to complete that by the end of October. That they're willing to do it for the fee of $7,000, which I talked to some other consultants, and that's right in line and a pretty good price according to what I was told. They have a lot of data, obviously, because they've done a pretty comprehensive study on the Deegan Lake. So they would work with the DEP to complete those reports for us. So that's our recommendation, is to do that as a change order onto the work they're doing now and get that completed in time so we don't get a black eye with the DEP.
Any questions of the manager? Any action on that item?
So moved.
Motion to approve 12.4 as read.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. 12.5, consider an act on the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of a right-of-way to the West Virginia DOH for the 131 widening project. Manager, do you want?
Yes, so I've been working on this for a while with the Department of Highways, as you all know. I think there's a much needed need to widen Route 131. So this first section will be going from approximately the entrance to the Bridgeport complex out toward back toward out toward I-79, that direction. And of course, to do some widening, they have to acquire some property. So through that small section there's a portion of, if you know where our parks maintenance building is, and the large public works buildings back there with the salt storage. There's some kind of wet area to the west of that. And you guys, I included the map in your packet, so hopefully you saw that. You can see it's kind of a long sliver that goes out through there that they need. Working with our staff, we don't see an issue with them taking that property. They are compensating us for that. And our legal did look through the whole thing and had no problems with anything that was listed there. Said that all the state contracts were pretty straightforward with what they normally do. So we recommend that we go forward with that so we can not hold that project up for the state.
Any questions from the manager?
Question, what's the proposed compensation amount?
It was $10,500.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional questions? Any action?
Move be accepted as read.
Motion to approve 12.6 as read.
Second.
I'm sorry, 12.5. Second on that. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, now we're on 12.6. Consider an act on the first reading of an ordinance amending section 4-17 of the City of Bridgeport Employee Handbook to update the workers' compensation policy to comply with the provider's recommendation and approving, enacting, and reenacting the City of Bridgeport's Employee Handbook as amended.
I'll ask HR Director Amanda Woody to discuss that with you all.
Sure. Per the advisement of our workers' compensation company, it was brought to our attention that we were misappropriating our funds and matching on the workers' compensation that we matched for employees. The way they calculate their earnings is different than what we were doing. So per that advisement, we would like to change the policy as was in the packet today.
Any questions of Ms. Woody?
Yeah, so as I understood what was in the packet, we're trying to prevent them from being paid more than 100% of
Correct.
But with this change, are they in danger of receiving less than?
No, the way that workers' compensation bases it on is their last 3 quarters of earnings.
Okay.
So their last total compensation, which would include overtime or any extra earnings as well. So therefore, when we were reimbursing them for another 40%, that was done inappropriately. It didn't match the 100%, but they're actually getting paid on a 7-day schedule as well. So rather than a 5-day.
Okay. Thank you.
But no, they will not be losing anything.
Any other questions?
No, and just, this was brought to our attention by our workers' compensation
Correct.
company, and, you know, that pointed us out that, you know, our policy was probably being, you know, handled incorrectly, that we had at least one instance where we believe an employee received more than what would be normally their 100% pay.
Well, and it's a large workers' compensation company that we use, and they said there was no other entity. They fund a lot of state and government agencies, and there was no other entity that did it in this manner. So I'll take their advisement on that.
Thank you. Any action by the council?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve 12-6. Your second? And second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay. 12-7. Consider an act on a resolution authorizing the City of Bridgeport's participation in the West Virginia Attorney General's opioid settlement with Purdue Pharma, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all necessary documents in furtherance of the city's participation. You want to talk about that, Jeff?
I can, unless Dean knows more than me. But I worked with John Ashcombe a lot on this one. But it's you know, it's basically a class action lawsuit against Purdue, and you know, we've seen several of those. I think the city has received a couple payouts from those. So you know, this was prompted by the West Virginia Attorney General's office, and we have the option to opt in. Doesn't guarantee we get anything, but if there is a settlement reached, then we would receive a portion of that, as we have for other things. And I think that's benefited the police department in the past and different programs that we've done, you know, with addictions and, you know, control and stuff like that.
Thank you. Any questions for the manager?
What's the limitations on those funds if we were to get them? What they're to be used for?
I don't know that we've tackled that yet. You know, I know that in the past, and Sharon, you may be able to answer that better than I can with what we've done with those funds before. But I think that would kind of be, you know, kind of at the council's discretion as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure about these funds, but the current funds that we have, there are a lot of restrictions in what we can and cannot do. And then there's a state government agency that oversees also how those are spent. But I'm assuming this would be the same way.
So we do already have funds from
We do
other
have some
lawsuits?
opioid settlement funds from previous, yes.
Yeah, Sharon, those parameters aren't usually set until the settlement's done, right?
Right,
So
right, yeah.
we'd have an idea,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Do we have legal fees involved in this?
They would be determined by the court and approved by the court for the class action attorneys, which would be hired by the state. If there are outside attorneys involved, if it's all done by the Attorney General, then there probably would be some fees involved, but that would be determined by the final settlement.
Do you know offhand if there were fees in the other settlements passed on to the local entities?
I think that there were fees, but they were taken from the total settlement, and we would have paid just the percentage that would be allocated to us. Your alternative is not very good. If you opt out, then you have to bring your own action.
Yeah. Thank you. Any further discussion? Any action?
I'll make a motion to approve 12.7 as read.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve 12.7 as read.
Second.
And second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carried. 12.8, consider an act on setting trick or treat as October 30th, 2025, from 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. in the city of Bridgeport. I guess that's kind of simple. We don't need a discussion or anybody. Anybody want to do any action on that?
So moved.
Motion for 12.8 as read. Is there a second? A second, any discussion?
I think just to explain that they wanted to reschedule because of Friday night football games, correct?
Yeah, Friday
Yeah.
night football game, and it's also senior night. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carries. 12.9, consider an act on pursuing engagement with clear career professionals for interim city management options. I'll start on that since that was my thought. During the almost 6 months now, we've been without a city manager, and we are in a very unique situation. And I will say that I probably misstated that because we've had Joe as our city manager, who does a wonderful job. And I don't want anybody, I want to be very clear that everybody understands that. My concern is with the charter, it requires us to put a city manager in place. And, and there were certain requirements, as you heard from the letter earlier in the public comments, that there's requirements, degree, certain time and grade as a city or a county manager or assistant. So it's a very difficult situation that we're in. And I can completely understand why at the time that the former city manager was no longer, services were no longer continued here, that we put a department head in. And I just got to tell you, it's my opinion that it's very difficult for a department head to run their department, run the city, be involved. Although Judd does a great job at it, I don't know how he does it, and I certainly appreciate it. But I think it's time that we start looking at a resolution to how we're operating now. I've looked at the charter. I've discussed it, with Dean. There's really nothing in there that discusses an interim city manager. And on deeper review of it, it basically says in the absence or disability of the city manager, then the council can put in a city official in that position. But the problem that concerns me is we don't have a manager to be absent or disabled. And it also says that if a manager is terminated, that's final. So to me, it leads me to believe that on the day that Mr. Ford was terminated, that was final, so we were without a manager. Had there been a manager that was sick or otherwise couldn't perform their duty, then I think the charter allows us to put in a city official, a department head, during that time period. So I researched a little bit, and I talked to some of the other council individually and offline, and we looked at some solutions. And one thing I came across was a company that places persons in city positions, whether it be a city manager, finance director, public works, police chief, fire chief, whatever those positions are. And I reached out to them, researched a little bit. What I really liked about it is that this method, a city manager could be placed here. They're short-term. There's no buyout contract, so when they're finished or when our legal matters are over with the former city manager, if we are in a position to fill that, then this person that if we would do this, setting this role, they move on. We don't have to pay out a contract. We don't have to buy out a contract because we spent a lot of money over the last several years paying out contracts and whatever. So that was important to me. So I just thought it would be a matter of discussion. So the company had provided me with 3 resumes of people that they have contacted that would be interested in coming here to Bridgeport and filling that gap. We are under no financial or contractual obligation with this company at all. So I guess the process that I'm looking for would be for the council to explore this, and by exploring it, I would guess our methods would be to interview, and if we like somebody, then we move forward with it. If we don't, then we go back to square one. And I know that at that point, if we decided we would want to hire somebody to fill that gap, then that would take a a vote or would take action of the council. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're just in a exploratory mode. I did, after talking to Dean and John, I learned that I should not have used the term interim city manager because our legal, and I agree with him after talking to him, that, you know, if we were to hire somebody under these circumstances, we would be hiring them as a city manager. And the term is what the question would be. And their term would not be defined in their contract. So they could work a day, a month, a year, but there would be no buyout. So that's just, like I say, and I want to be very clear, if, I couldn't say it 1,000 times, this has no reflection on what Joe has done. You know, but our charter requires a very specific set of the education set, the prior experience set that you know we're in now, that we have to look for somebody in those parameters. I know that we're going to review the charter. Maybe that'll get addressed. Maybe it'll get changed, but that certainly wouldn't be for a long time down the road. So I just think that the city manager's position is so important that we need to start looking at ways to fill that. Joe will always be a very important part of this administration, this running the city. He always has been. He is a dedicated, I believe he would do anything morally and legally that we ask him to do for the betterment of the city. So with that being said, I'll just open up the floor for discussion.
Yeah, I know I was completely on board with this when we first brought this up, but I actually was contacted by some city employees that wanted to express how much they trust Joe, how much they feel that his heart is Bridgeport. They're concerned, and it changed my mind actually, if you want me to be honest, how much their concern is if we bring an outsider in for X amount of time until, you know, the current lawsuit is concluded, that are they going to put as much thought into decisions as Joe has? So although I know you're in a tough position, I know you're people's superior now, you're going to go back to their equal in the future, but if you're up for the challenge, I'm on board with your staying if you are comfortable with that, because that's a big ask. It's a big ask. You've done a great job. Yeah.
Chris.
So what I want to make sure I fully understand, I read the charter says, council may designate some other officer of the city to perform the duties of the manager during the manager's absence or disability. So what you're now saying is we're not in that circumstance, because that's only if we actually have a manager and they're just temporarily out. Because if we have to abide by this, then it's kind of a moot point. But if what we're saying is we're not in that circumstance because there is no city manager, now we're, I don't want to say we're playing a game, but now we are hiring somebody with the intention of it being short-term, temporary, but without using the term temporary or interim. I'm always cautious about playing word games and semantics in those terms. And I just want to make sure that we make this right decision, because the other side, I'm willing to, if we're legally allowed to do it, I'm willing to at least take a look. My big concern is I look at these 3 resumes and I see people from Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, there's some neat stuff on there that's pretty good. There's some things on there that I have concerns about. But, you know, the old curmudgeon in me, old school Bridgeport, if at all possible, I'd really like to have somebody here that loves this community, will love this community. I'm not against necessarily hiring somebody from outside the community if I think they're going to move in and become, you know, a part of it. But knowing that they're only going to be here for a short period of time, will their heart ever truly be in it and have the love for this community that drives why this community is so daggone good in the first place. So I really have some heartburn. Maybe there's a company that's a little closer that we're not going to be getting these cowboy hat people. And I don't want to say like, I know people work. I used to have a cowboy hat. But I think you get my point. I'm a little concerned that we're bringing somebody in from essentially a different culture that won't understand what's going on here.
Thank you. Good comments from Jacqueline and Chris. I'm sort of in their camp. I'm hesitant to bring a new, I don't know, personality, body, person, executive into the city. I'd like to wait until we have some more rulings on the case with Mr. Ford, which I think will be sooner than later. And I think that Joe has been a really good calming effect in the city, and is, say, Joe, you're a known commodity. We all are, right? So, and I think in the near term, we stay the course, and then we maybe address this and consider this, I'll call them this placing agents or this manpower service, sort of what I view it as. But I think if we get the ruling that we suspect, I think then we go on a hunt for a permanent replacement, and we don't put the employees or the residents through, I'll just use the word, another interim from the interim. And maybe we can get not a Band-Aid on the Band-Aid, and Band-Aid's not a bad term. It's a short-term level here, and we go that route. So that's my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to commend the three councilors that very good comments, and I've talked to the mayor over the last week about it some too. I think one of my bigger concerns is like Chris said, he hates to bring somebody in from Texas in for a short term, but my thing is this: if we bring them in for 3 months or 4 months, and then we say, okay, hit the road, we're bringing a permanent in, I mean, that just creates more confusion to the existing employees. Yeah, we've got some problems we need to work out, but unless you tell me differently, I think you're handling it very, very well. And so I'm not to argue with you, but I agree with you all.
Jason.
Joe, I thank you for your service and stepping up and doing a wonderful job. And I like what Clayton said, the calming effect. I think that's working very well. So thank you. And Mayor, thank you for pushing this, moving in the right direction. We haven't had a city manager. This has kind of been overlooked. I think it's something that this council needs to seriously start addressing. As the last council, this was a long process. Every time we went into session to talk about the city manager. I'm looking up here at this armored vehicle, and I think, what does that cost? 400 and... Like 478. 378. I'm reminded closely to that number. In the last 4 years, we spent close to $400,000 on looking for, paying out city. That didn't include their salaries. That's just the turnover that we had with city managers. That's what cost the citizens of Bridgeport over $400,000. That would have bought one of those things. I'm just saying. And I don't want to go back down that cycle again. I don't want to do that again. So if we're prudent as a council to look at, look at this and maybe other options, and explore other options so that we can find the solution for the city manager.
Thank you. Thank everybody for their comments, and very good and valid comments, and I think that we should always be looking at avenues to change things, think outside of the box. I would expect that the vote's going to be this evening not to go forward with it, which is fine. But I would like Dean to look at it, because after researching it, I am concerned that once Pat Ford left, we didn't have a manager, and that we can't have somebody filling in on an absent or vacancy. But I agree with a lot of your comments and appreciate those. And so I'll ask, is there any action on that?
Well, but I would say that I would like to know if this is a legal course of action that we can take. I'm not opposed to at least looking, right? Especially with an agency like this where it doesn't cost us anything to receive resumes. I'm more than willing to take a look at resumes and evaluate people to see if maybe there is that unicorn out there that would be the right person. I don't want to say right now there's nobody, so let's not even look. One, I just want to make sure we are legally allowed to do it. And then if that's the case, I would vote to pursue, at least go down this path for informational purposes.
Well, I think we would have to depend on Dean to tell us if it's legal and proper to do it, and if so, go ahead.
The charter does not say the reasons for the absence.
Mm-hmm.
It just says in the absence of the city manager that you can name another officer of the city. We have always taken that to mean that it was a department head, and they are officers of the city. They're created, their positions are created by charter. So they're not created by council, they're created by the charter. So they're officers of the city. To answer your question, or try to answer your question, I think that if the city manager is absent for any reason, that you can name an interim city manager, which is another officer of the city. Now, I do think that there is an obligation to be looking for a city manager because the charter says that you shall name a city manager. And the form of government that we have is a strong city manager form of government. And keep in mind that there are limitations on a city manager in terms of discharging, rearranging departments or anything, that it can't be done for 6 months after they're hired. To put it off, a city manager coming in would not have that ability to change things up, to discharge employees for 6 months. Well, if it's temporary, he's not going to be here 4 to 6 months or whatever, and then you've got to go through that 6 months all over again. So you've got a city manager who's somewhat hamstrung in terms of what he can do and what he can't do. So, you know, legally I have no problem with continuing with an interim city manager, you know, for a period of time. But I think it has to be a reasonable period of time. You can't go 2 or 3 years without exercise, you know, without carrying forth your duty to name a city manager.
But can we legally choose to hire somebody that we know we're only going to keep temporarily? Would that be disingenuous to the
There is
project?
nothing in the charter and there's nothing in the law that I find that keeps you from limiting the term of your contract with a new city manager. It could be a 6-month contract, it could be a 1-month contract, because there's nothing there that says that you have to hire a city manager for a specified period of time. But you can hire a city manager if he's truly a city manager and has all the duties and responsibilities of a city manager for a brief period of time. I don't find anything that prohibits that. The only thing that applies are the restrictions on his authority.
I guess I'd like to hear from Joe as well. So is this something, well, I know, well, we're talking about you, Joe. So,
At least you're present.
we have full confidence in you, so I want to make sure that this is something that you actually want to.
Right, yeah, I mean, it's been challenging, you know, I've talked to Mark a lot, he's been through the same thing, and we know how difficult it can be. You know, and I had the same conversation with the mayor and a couple other people, you know, and I'll tell you the exact thing I said to them. You know, I've given, will be 31 years of my almost my entire professional career here, and I did the math, 60-some% of my life here for the city, and you know, and love what I do, and had other opportunities to go other places, but you know, it's just always been home, and you know, since we relocated here and stuff, and you know, I plan to stay here, you know, until I retire, and you know, I've always enjoyed working with the councils, and we've had some great ones over the years, and some great individuals and great people, and I have full trust in you guys, and if you need me to continue to do this, I will. If you think there's a better option that is better for the entire city, for the citizens and our staff, and the functionality of what we have to get done, then I'm all on board, and I'll help that person and welcome them with open arms. But you know, at the same time, I'm here to help you guys through this process, and you know, and I'll do what you need me to do. So.
Well said.
good. Thank you, Jim. So I guess we're at the crossroads here. Do we interview these three people, see if there's somebody that wows us, or would you just write this off and down the road we revisit it? And
Yeah,
go
I say
ahead.
one comment.
Turn your
and
mic
that-
on.
And that is that if we're going to interview these three, it's not going to be very far down the road. We're going to start interviewing again, which is a long process. Why don't we start getting it in gear, line it all up, figure out what company you want to use, you know, if we want to bring a company, and at least be ready. You know, I know that we want to wait till the court case is over, but why can't we get it almost to that point, and then we're ready to go? You know, I mean, we're going to have to do it anyway, whether it be in a month or whether it be in 10 months. And back up one thing too that about Jason saying that how we've been through different city managers. It goes back 6, 8, 10 years ago. We empowered each one of the city managers and said, it's your job to get an assistant city manager. Don't see one, do you? They never got it done. So, because if we had an assistant manager, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Would something like this action, would this cast a net? I mean, basically it kind of gets the word out, hey, Bridgeport's in that community, and the city managers community out there that we are looking. I know this process of some of the companies we've used in the past, and we've had success with them, and we've had not so much success with them, but they're expensive, you know, you start throwing that out there. And would this be something that's, we're not obligated to it. We could sign up and say, let's do it. We can interview these three people. We couldn't interview these three people. We can interview 10 of them. We could say we just want one. But it does start the process. And I think something that Dean said that hits me is like, that's kind of our job, is to at least start looking for a city manager, regardless if there's a lawsuit or regardless of you know, how well Joe's doing. It's kind of our job to do that. And is this the first step, is saying at least we're doing this, we're going to try this out? I went to the website and looked it up. The reviews were great. It bothers me. I agree with you, Chris, you know, hiring a temporary for a temporary, but you never know what you're going to get, you know, if you throw a big net out there. At least start the process.
Any further discussion? Okay. Any action on 12.9?
Well, with the way it's worded here, and with what Dean said, I'll move that we at least consider and act on pursuing engagement with clear career professionals for interim city manager, or for city management position, no interim. I'll make that motion, just for that piece.
I'll second it.
Motion and second on 12.9 as read. Any discussion amongst the council? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Yay.
Nay. Any 3 nays? We've got a tie here. Flip a coin. Okay, well, in a tie situation, it doesn't advance.
No actions taken.
Yeah, so, okay. Thank you. Very good discussion and very good points on both sides of that issue. And I think Chris has said it before. That's the beauty of this council. We can discuss things and have open dialogue and move on. So with that being said, we'll move on to 12.10. Discuss personnel matters for the fire department and community development. I'm going to ask that we defer that. I think those are a couple of situations that should be done in executive session. And if we can jump to council comments and then go in executive on 12.10 if that so pleases the council. So, Councilor Rominger, we'll start with you.
Great week, great meeting. Congratulations to the 3 employees who got awards, 2 15 years and 1 20 year. That's nothing to scoff at, so thank you guys for your service very much.
Thank you.
So, in full openness, I want to share a brief bit of a conversation that I had with Chief Rogers beforehand, because I didn't want to take him by surprise. You know, I come from a old school conservative kind of approach to government, and I'm leery of any kind of overly strong government. I think that's something to be feared, because it gets into suppression and oppression and takes away from freedom. And when I saw the MRAPs come up a few years ago, I had serious concerns about that and was adamantly opposed to that as a citizen. And so when the Bobcat came up this time, certainly as an old retired military guy, I looked at that and I know it's presented as a defensive life support, a rescue vehicle. I can certainly see how it has similarities to equipment that I've been a part of and could use in other means besides just defensive. And so I do have some reservations about it. I appreciate the presentation that you made, stressing what its primary purposes are for. And when I first looked at this stuff, I was using the term militarization of a police force, and I have serious concerns about that. But as you present it, I told you I'd have an open mind to it, and you've given me a lot to think about. So I'm not as convinced as I thought I was when I came in. So I appreciate the professionalism by which you presented that and gave us a lot to think about. Continue to do that and change his mind. So thanks, Chief. Thanks, Sergeant and Director. Appreciate you guys' thoughts and input.
Thank you. Councilor Rice?
Appreciate everybody coming tonight. Thanks on the service awards. Congratulations to the employees that received them this day and age. You just don't see a lot of that. We just need you to double those years with us. We appreciate that. Tim, getting that grant, congratulations. Several years writing those grants. Those grants are not easy to write. They're not easy to get. So appreciate the hard work. Good presentation on the Bearcat.
Thank you. Recorder Murray?
I agree. Congratulations on the service awards. And really, I want to thank all our counselors. I think it was a great discussion. The meeting's been very, very helpful. And thank you for your evening.
Thank you.
Again, Greg, congratulations on everyone's service award. Mr. Queen, great presentation. I didn't know a lot about the bridge, and I think I know where it is. It's over by the mall. That's it, yeah. So that's kind of cool. So appreciate you bringing that to council's attention.
All right. Well, I think enough's been said. Is there first of all, let me thank you all for coming. There's no action on that item for the executive session, so we won't come back out into open session. So, I mean, whatever you want to do, but if you want to wait around, we're not going to take any action when we come out other than adjournment. But with that being said, is there a motion on 1210 to go in executive session?
I make a motion we go into executive session to discuss 1210 personnel matters for fire department and community development.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. We're adjourned with certain city staff and council and manager and attorney.
Good job, Chief. Good seeing you. Thank you. Did a good job. Tim, good job.